TEB3. We are thrilled to have you here for an excellent lineup of speakers.
Absolutely. I'm Tom, and together with Leonie, we'll be your hosts for this period of exploring the theme to infinity and beyond.
TEDx is a non-profit organization that aims to share the theme of ideas worth spreading. We'll be posting all of today's talks on their YouTube channel, so go and check that out later.
So, who's next?
Let's dive right in and get started.
For our first speaker of this period, we turn to an experienced leader who has redefined potential throughout her career.
Potential has no limits, except the ones we place on ourselves. Our next speaker, a journalist and former member of the European Parliament from Slovakia, is here to challenge the way we define our own capabilities. With experience in politics, journalism, and advocacy, she will help us reimagine what we can achieve when we remove self-imposed boundaries. Please welcome Lucia Duris Nicholsonová.
There are too many idiots leading this world today, and too many very wise and clever people who are being pushed into a corner. Now, we cannot let those idiots to destroy our planet, to destroy our freedom, and to destroy our moral principles, right? Can we agree? Perfect. So the key word that often pushes the wise and clever people into the corner is confidence. This is what's happening when people don't believe in themselves. And it is the confidence that either puts you on the top or puts you in the corner. It is the confidence that determines one's potential, whether you can reach your full potential or not. Now, I'm going to tell you 3 stories. And yes, all of the 3 stories are going to be about me. I know it's very narcissistic, and I'm very sorry about it. But all of the 3 stories are about confidence. First story. I was a fat child. I was really chubby. Up until I was a teenager, when I was in the school, I often felt like a pigeon among sparrows. And the kids used to laugh at me, and they used to call me all kinds of different names. I mean, most often it was the mountain of flesh. And one day, someone came to the school and spread this rumor that actually fatness is contagious. And ever since then, nobody wanted to sit beside me, and nobody wanted to hold my hand. And you know, with physical education, I was so nervous when we had the physical education, because I was always too heavy to jump over barriers or climb the rope. And I had a younger brother. My younger brother was handsome. He was very athletic. He was the swimming champion. And my parents were so, so proud of him. And I wanted to be like him. I wanted to look like him, but I was just the mountain of flesh. So you can imagine my confidence, right? What did it look like? 0. 0. When the times were really heavy on me and I felt really sad, I would sit and I would write poems, short stories, long stories, mostly very sad and very depressing, but I learned that actually I'm very good at it. This was the first thing that I was really good at, writing. So at that time, I decided that I'm gonna be a journalist. This was my dream, to become this confident journalist who can cover real stories. And when I was 15, I actually got an internship in the most famous Slovak media, in the newspaper. It was the best one in communist era. It was serious one, like the best journalist from the country used to write articles for it, and I got in. It was a huge chance for me. And I decided that I'm not gonna fail. Do you know what I did in order not to fail and to cover real stories like real journalists? I got infiltrated into a gang that was dealing drugs mainly from Serbia. And I lived with these people, and I observed them, and I wrote a long article on them. And it got published. Can you imagine? I was 15 years old, and this long piece just got published in the best newspaper in Slovakia. It gave me hope that actually I can fulfill my potential, that actually I can become a journalist. But then on the table, all of a sudden, when I was 18, there were the entering exams to the School of Journalism. And I failed. I wasn't accepted. All of the kids, all of the other kids with very good connections of their parents got accepted to the school, but not me. All of the kids for whom I used to write the school essays got accepted, but not me. I failed. Now, that was something for my confidence, you know. It went down like this again. Huge failure, you know. I remember I felt so disappointed. I felt so sad again. But somehow I knew that there was the potential inside me, that I still have a chance to become a journalist. And this is a second story I'd like to tell you. Because somehow I didn't give up on my dream. One day, I borrowed this really not very well-fitted blazer from a friend of mine, and I borrowed her high heels because I didn't have any, and they were too small for me. And I remember walking in those shoes and with this not very well-fitted blazer through the streets in Bratislava, my country, and I went straight to the office of General Director of the first Slovak private TV station. And I didn't have any appointment, nothing. I just went there, I knocked on the door, and there he was. And he was like, "What do you want?" "I want to work here." "What can you do?" And I said, "Well, I can do whatever you tell me, and what I cannot do, I will very quickly learn." And he gave me the contract. I was 19 years old, and from that day, I started to work as a TV news reporter. Huge thing. After few weeks, they even raised my salary, and they offered me to host my own show, my own TV show. Now that was something. I was 19 years old, and deep inside me, I was still this little fat girl that nobody wanted to sit next to, the girl that nobody wanted to hold hands with. But I decided that I will fight this feeling, that I will fight this low confidence. And I started to be quite good at my job, you know. I interviewed like really important politicians way back then. The Slovak politicians, even the most feared ones, you know. At that time, we had this really bad guy being a prime minister. His name was Vladimir Mečiar, and he was huge. I mean, he was like 2 meters tall, and he was really heavy guy and huge one. And I was sitting there interviewing him, and I remember like my hands were shaking like this, but I couldn't fail. I couldn't fail. I said to myself that, no, girl, this is a huge opportunity for you, and now you have to fake it. You actually have to fake that you are confident. And I did it. And I spent another 15 years in journalism, in the Slovak media. I became an awarded investigative journalist, following really serious stories like illegal arms trading or mafia being infiltrated in the Slovak government. Was I self-confident? No. No. Deep inside, I was still this little girl with 0 grams of confidence. But I learned to fake it. I learned how to fake confidence. And here comes the third story. In 2009, I was asked to enter the Slovak politics. Now, it was, way, way back in Slovakia, in post-communist country, in country where the politics is the men's world. It's full of these alpha males, huge, huge leaders. Do you know what these men think about women in politics? They think that women are only good-looking accessoires, nothing more. But I decided to give it a try. So in my first elections, I won. People voted me into parliament. I entered the big world of politics, the males' world. And I was in politics for another 15 years. I became the deputy speaker of the Slovak National Parliament. And later, I became a member of the European Parliament. In 2016, I was the top-ranked women politician in Slovakia. Was I confident? No. No. I just became really good in faking confidence, I became the master of faking confidence. And if you would ask anybody in Slovakia, any of the people in the streets, like, what do you think about Lucia, Duris, Nicholsonová? They would most probably say that, I know her, she's this self-confident woman. This is what people used to think about me. But I just faked it. It was difficult in politics, being a woman in politics, especially in the east of Europe, that's quite another world. And because I really tried hard, and because I was not just this beautiful flower standing in the press conference behind a strong male leader, being pretty but quiet, and I did my job, I digged very deep into topics. I discovered corruption scandals, misuse of EU funds, and very quickly I became quite a feared debate opponent for the politicians from the other side. And they feared me in the debates. Sometimes, there was nobody sitting next to me in the debates because they feared me. And when they couldn't defeat me in the debates, they tried it with a different way, with different tools, mostly with hate speech. They would call me all kinds of different names. What did they call me? Well, they called me ugly witch. They called me hermaphrodite. They said that it's difficult to say whether I'm a man or a woman. They called me a dirty gypsy because I have slightly darker skin, you see? So they used to call me dirty, ugly gypsy. I remember when they launched this huge disinformation campaign on me, branding me a prostitute. They actually said that I was a former prostitute. Out of nowhere, they just, they just said it. And many people in Slovakia believe that actually I used to work as a prostitute, and they would spit on me when I was walking on the streets with my 3 kids. So it was a wild, wild world. But I survived. And I think you can survive almost anything if you know how to protect yourself. Do you know how I protected myself? I faked the confidence. I faked it so, so well. This helped me a lot. And I just faked it for such a long time that actually I became it. I became this confident woman. So here I am today, meet my new confident self. Hello. Hello, kids and adults. Hi. I feel much better now. I faked it for such a long time that I became self-confident. And today, I actually teach people how to communicate. I teach them how to speak so that the other ones would listen, just like you're listening to me right now, and I'm very thankful for that. And do you know what is the key word of all of my lectures? Confidence. Very good, kids. Confidence. It's confidence. Now, one of the biggest myths that I know is this: people love to say this, like, you have to be born with confidence. You either have it or you don't. There is nothing in between. This is nonsense. Never ever believe in this. Because confidence is just a skill. Just like riding a bike. You had to learn it, right? But once you learn it, you will never forget it. And with confidence, it's just like that. And not only you can train confidence, but you can actually fake it. And it can help you. Do you know why? Because confidence is very, very important in our lives. We can never fulfill our dreams. We can never reach the full potential that we have without being confident. And I'm telling you this to the kids, to the young generation, because I know how hard it is to believe in yourself when you are young. I know it because I've been there. And I would be so thankful if, through my path, somebody just told me, like, hey girl, relax. You can actually learn how to be confident. You can actually fake how to be really confident in the eyes of other people. So I'd like to tell you a few tricks that might help you to fake confidence. Here is the first one. You should learn how to walk upright. I'm going to tell you how a loser walks, right? People without confidence. They walk like this. Like, their arms are squeezed, they hold their hands, their side is, somewhere down there. They're shy. They pretend to be smaller than they really are. They're shrinking. And this is how a winner walks like, upright. I'm taking my space. This is me. I'm big. I'm much bigger than I really am. I know how to take my space. For me, only sky is the limit. This is how a winner walks like. So learn how to be a winner. What is the second very important thing is the eye contact. Always maintain the eye contact. Another thing that is really important is that through your lives, there will be people who will have doubts in you, okay? And they will try to throw all kinds of negative things on you. Learn how to do the blank face. Don't show your real emotions to people like that around you, to people who will have doubts about you. And the next thing, the most important thing, is to learn how to speak up. Learn how to speak up for yourself, but also for the weaker ones, for those ones who were being pushed to the corner because they were not confident enough. Help the most vulnerable ones. Speak for them. You know, I think that our world is so lost because of the silent majority. Please, never become a part of silent majority. Learn how to speak up, because the wise, the intelligent, the educated people need to stick together now more than ever before. As I told you at the beginning, the world is led by idiots. They are trying to steal and destroy our planet, our moral standards and principles, our freedom. My generation has failed, and I'm deeply sorry for that. And it's you who is the hope for us, for our world. So don't sit here, don't look at me anymore, don't listen to me anymore. Just go and build your confidence, you know? Work on your inner strength. Because it's you, the young generation, that needs to take the world back from the idiots. It is you who needs to give us a hope for better tomorrow. Thank you.